Hi, this is Jeff from DIY Fidget Spinners YouTube channel. Thanks for joining me today. Today we're going to be talking about weights and weight placement. So we've got a bunch of different weights here. If you buy one off the shelf, then typically you would get a spinner with 4 different bearings, one in the center, and then one on each one of the spokes there. And that's certainly a great option. Weight bearings have a good amount of weight to them. But if you were to compare one of those to one metal bearing, you'd see that this weighs about twice as much. So that could translate into a lot more spin time if you were to use some decent weights there on the metal bearings. So these metal bearings are a great option. Additionally, if you're making your own spinners, it'll give you a little bit more clearance. You can see the circumference of the sphere here gives you a little bit more clearance. Instead of a 2 to 3 millimeter clearance, you're going to get maybe 4 or 5 millimeters there, which is nice. Gives you more wood stability. Let's move those out of the way here. Another thing you could use is something like these screw heads or some nuts in there. You could also combine the two and put those screws in there. There you go. And then that could be inserted into that hole also. So that would be another option. What you could also do is use some of these washers. The thing we don't like about the washers is these washers are, obviously they have a big hole in the middle. So that's the first thing. You're losing a lot of weight because of that compared to the metal bearing, which is completely solid and it's a lot heavier. You'd probably need 10 or 15 of these washers to make up the weight of one of these steel bearings. You could also use some aluminum. This is just aluminum bar that we cut off, and that's a real nice option as well. The problem with the aluminum bar is when you sand it, it gets really hot. So you run the risk of either burning the wood or burning your hand by touching it. And we've actually had the metal bar heat up so much that when we're sanding it, that it actually glowed orange and it melted some of the glue that was on there, the epoxy. So that's another concern why we don't particularly love these, but I think they are a really interesting design element. So one of the other critical things besides the different types of weights is the placement of the weight. Weight placement is absolutely critical, and here's why. If you were to put a weight here, right dead center, and then this weight, let's say, I'm going to just use these bearings here. This one was dead center, but this one's either off to the left or to the right. Then what you're going to do is you're going to create a little bit of wobble. Additionally, if it's a little bit too close or a little bit too far away, the same thing, you're going to get wobble in this spinner. So it's critical that when you're drilling your holes, you are dead center on all 3 and in the center bearing. And that's why when we're drilling our holes, we're using a jig, and that holds the material in place and nice and steady, so we don't have to think about it too much. What we're also going to do is we've got this is one of our favorite ways to add weights right now, and these are taper pins. They're just little steel pins that you can pick up at most hardware store. And instead of inserting it like the other ones, these pins actually go down through the center of the wood there, you can see. So that taper pin is right there in the center, sandwiched between the wood. And by using a jig, we can get it so that it's not going in crooked or at an angle and not popping out or something like that. We can get a real nice straight line drilling right through the center of that piece of wood right there. So this is a little mint Milano. Looks like one of those cookies that we have. Mint Milano. And we also have a tri-spinner here. It gives a real clean look on the face of the spinner and gets a real nice spin there. Here's another option with the aluminum bar right there. And here's one with the metal bearings. These are 3/8" metal bearing, so it's got some pretty. It's probably one of the heavier spinners I've felt, and it's got a real nice spin to it, no wobble. And this one's using 3 different sandwiches of wood here. We've got 1/4" plywood, 1/8" and 1/8" on each side, so that's a real nice spinner, but it is a little bit thick. It's a 1/2 inch thick right there. You could also use something like marbles. Marbles, these are glass marbles, and even though they are round, obviously they're spheres, but glass is not nearly as heavy as the metal bearings are. So just take that into consideration. But it is a very nice design element. Some pretty colors on the marbles. On the washers, here's an option that we did with the washers. And this is a double spinner that we created. So 2 different directions there. And with something like the nuts and bolts, you could obviously make something kind of industrial. And we've got a couple videos on how we did those. If you were to use smaller bearings, these metal bearings right here, you could use, create really interesting designs like flower patterns or something like that, and incorporate some additional bearings on the outside. You don't need these big 3/8" bearings. You could use a smaller bearing. So that's the information that we have on weights and weight placement. Hopefully this was helpful for you in developing out your DIY spinners. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them in the comments below, and love to get back to you on that. Also, check out our other videos here. We've got lots of videos on how to balance your spinner and things like that. Those are great videos. And then please like and share this video. We'd love to get some more subscribers on the channel, and so we can keep producing more videos for you guys. All right, thanks a lot. Make it a great day.